All right, welcome back for another week of strength training. I am joined by Kingsley again, and we are going to be doing some excellent shoulder and core work. Some of our shoulder work is going to be a little rehabilitative, so grab a band. Most of these exercises you can do with small hand weights as well, or just your arms. So find a spot on a mat and let's get started. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started with our usual shoulder elevations, depressions, protractions, and retractions. But we're going to add a little spice to it with our band, all right? So go ahead and place your hands about shoulder width apart on your band here. And we're going to start by reaching our hands up overhead. And then you're going to elevate, so shrug those shoulders, and then depress, bring them down. Once the shoulders are in space or in place, go ahead and pull that band apart like you're going to rest it right on top of the crown of your head. Bring the hands back together, keeping the shoulders depressed. Lower down to chest height, and now we're going to protract and retract. So for our protractions, reach the shoulders away from each other, the shoulder blades, and then retract, squeeze the shoulder blades closer towards the spine, and then we're going to pull apart. So it's center. Now we're going to lift, elevate, shrug those shoulders, depress, pull them down the back, pull apart, keeping the depression in mind, and then center and chest level. Now we're going to protract, slide them out in front of you, retract, draw them back, and then draw the band across the body. All right, let's do 3 more full sets. So all we're doing here as we elevate, depress, and then pull apart is we're practicing putting those positions into practice. So as we protract, right, this is not necessarily a position we want, so we're retracting, find that stability, and then we move around the joint. So you're finding the positioning that you want before you put the joint into action. Let's elevate, depress, widen the body, pull apart, keep that space between shoulder and the ear, and then center. Woo, we should be warming up those shoulders nicely. Squeeze it back, and then draw across. Last one. And remember, if you need a little bit of a break, just take your hands a little wider on that band. And you might want to take your hands a little wider anyway if you feel like your shoulder mobility isn't in that space. Pull the band apart. Touch the top of your head. Give yourself a little static electricity. Bring it back down to chest level. Slide around the rib cage. Draw back, and then draw across. Whew. All right, drop that band for just a moment. We have one more warm-up exercise before we get into it. So this is an axial rotation. So we just warmed up our shoulder blades. We really are aware of where they are in space. We're going to warm up the shoulder capsule a little bit right here. So go ahead and just reach your hands straight up. And I want your palm facing your ear, all right? So if you had both hands up, your palms would be facing each other. Now make a fist, okay? Arm is nice and straight. And we're just gonna rotate, all right? So rotate the whole shoulder so the fist is now facing away. And then rotate it back, right? Your elbow is gonna move, but I want you to really see, if you can, get that rotation from the armpit a little bit as we go through this movement. And really squeeze that fist so that you're creating that nice strong line from the shoulder all the way up to the fist. Let's do 2 more. These are harder than they look, folks. Absolutely. I swear, we're not just giving each other high fives here. Last one. And center. All right, bring it down. Oh, roll that right shoulder out. Next one. Left hand goes up, palm is facing your ear. Make that nice strong fist, and then go ahead and rotate it out to the side, and then bring it back to that centered position, right? thinking about the head of that femur, that's the ball of the ball and socket, is getting that strong movement within that shoulder capsule. And the reason why doing this overhead is so effective and why it is starting to burn so badly is because since we're overhead, we have all of those scapular stabilizers that we warmed up in the first exercise firing to keep us in this position. Whew. And if you want to make it even more challenging, you grab a lacrosse ball and hold on to that. Kingsley does not want to make it more challenging. So let's do one more. All right, and bring it back to center and down. Oh, roll out that left shoulder a little bit. All right, look over your right shoulder and your left shoulder. Make sure we don't have any tension in our necks because we're gonna head into a little bit of core work. So go ahead and anchor your band, okay? You're gonna want this if you are seated at about shoulder height. We're actually gonna go lying down today, okay? So you're gonna lie down with your head facing your anchor point, okay? Make sure you're centered. And of course, if you have your handy dandy foam roller, you can stick that underneath your knees if you'd like a little bit of support for that low back, all right? Grab onto both ends of your band here, and we're gonna start with just a little core warm up, the chest lift, an exercise that we should all be familiar with by now. All right, so hands are starting right up over your armpits. Let's not make sure we're not starting overhead, so right in front of your chest. And then on an exhale, we're gonna draw those hands down towards the hips as we peel head, neck, and shoulders up off the mat. Now right here, make sure that we're not hollowing out through the chest. The chest stays open. We're hollowing out through our top and lower abs. And then we're gonna inhale and come back down. Exhale, hands come down, lift head, neck, and shoulders to the extent that you can. Keep that chin off the chest, and then lower down. Let's do 3 more. We're just warming up those core muscles, making sure that we're staying supported with the muscles across the back. Last 2. Exhale, really blow that air out through your mouth. And even though we're reaching down towards our hips, I want you to think about reaching down and past your hips. So we're getting that length through the arm. And then bring it down. All right, take a quick breath here. So we're going right into an exercise called the 100, right? That's a lot of counts. So go ahead and exhale, come up into that chest lift and hold. All right, and now we're gonna do big beats. All right, so we're gonna go inhale, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. Nice, big, and controlled. I want you to think about those arms are a strong lever, so we're not bending at the elbow or the wrist. Long line from shoulder to fist, and we're getting that mobility from the shoulder joint, right? We're creating that movement of air with the whole arm here. And every time you exhale, I want you to think about hollowing out through that center a little bit more. And as you inhale, try to breathe into the sides of your rib cage and the back so that we can keep those abs working. Quick check-in. Let's make sure we haven't dropped that chin to the chest. We're looking out at about a 45-degree angle, and we're gonna go for 2 more sets. It's inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Blow out all that air. 3, 4, and slowly release. All right, well, we are almost done with core, so that was our warm-up. We're all warmed up now. All right, go ahead and on an exhale, we're gonna lower the hands and come right back into that chest lift. Now from here, we're gonna work the obliques a little bit. So I'm gonna flip my palms towards my hands. It just gives me a feeling of a little more length, all right? And then as you exhale, I want you to think about reaching towards your right knee. And then as you inhale, come back to center. So it's not just our arms that are reaching, we're actually shortening in those upper obliques. Think about driving that top rib down towards your bottom ribs. So we're shortening on the side of the body that we're reaching towards, and then lengthening as we come back to center. So this is lateral flexion. So we're staying in one plane side to side, like we're in a toaster slot. Woo! All right, make sure you're breathing. Every exhale, drive that air out of the space that you're shortening in. And we're gonna go for one more set. One on the right, and then last time on the left. Come back to center. Oh, and release. Nice job. All right, now for this next one, you can choose. You can either do this with the chest lift, or you can do it without. So let's start, we'll do 4 without, just to get the hang of the movement. So on this one, go ahead and draw your hands down towards your hips. Now for this one, you do want to flip your palms towards your hips, so you should be able to cup those thighs. And we're going to inhale, open out like a snow angel, and then exhale, draw back in towards your midline. So we're making this nice big arc, like you're flapping your wings if you were a bird. Now the floor gives you really nice feedback here. So just think about keeping those shoulder blades more or less flat on the floor. So they're kind of rotating up and down, but we're not getting any protraction or retraction throughout this movement. All right, on this next one, as we draw towards our midline, if you'd like to, go ahead and add your chest lift, and then draw back down and lower the head, neck, and shoulders. So it's exhale, hands to hips, lift, and then inhale, release it down. Let's do 2 more like that. Again, don't just think about reaching to your hips. Think about reaching past your hips, like you were gonna pass a basketball underneath your butt. On this next one, let's see if we can hold the chest lift up, and then we're gonna do 4 opens and closes with the chest lift maintained. This one's tough because as the arms are abducting or moving away from the body, we have to kick in those obliques, which we warmed up nicely with our little side to sides. All right, last time open, exhale, close, and then let everything reach up and relax. Very nice. Okay, so now we are done with our supine work on our back. We're gonna go to some sideline work. So I'm just gonna go ahead and tie a knot around my band here, because I'm only gonna use one side of my band, and you just wanna make sure you don't smack yourself in the face with the other side. Important safety tip. All right, now for your sideline work, again, foam roller is gonna be super handy here. You can place that under your top legs, all right, to give you a little stability. We're gonna be working with the band in our top arm. So use your bottom arm however you feel is gonna help ground you the best. So you can hold on, I mean, if you have a table leg in front of you, or just wanna do palm down, whatever you feel comfortable with, all right? Now, from here, try to make sure the shoulders are stacked on top of one another, so we're not curling forward or leaning back against that, all right? And we're going to start with just a lower and lift. So palm is facing down towards your hips, and you're going to exhale, lower the hand down, and then inhale, lift it back up. So for this one, we're really starting to kick in those lats, those big back muscles that kind of encompass all of those pulling muscles. So I want you to think about it wrapping from the spine down around the shoulder blade, and that's what's helping you pull the arm down towards the hips. So we're initiating from underneath that armpit. And again, try to get that length. So as we exhale, we're not only pushing the hand down, but we're also getting a little bit of depression. So we're reaching the shoulder down and away from the ear. Let's say 3 more. Now remember, anytime we're working with our bands, rule of thumb is that the further away you are from your anchor point, the harder it's going to be. So if you want an extra challenge, slide down, or you can always choke up on your band a little bit to give you a little bit more resistance. Last 2. And 1. Hold it down at your hip, all right? Again, check in here. Let's make sure that we're not allowing that shoulder to creep up. Push those fingertips past your hip. And we're going to do little circles here. So think about the size of a grapefruit, a small dinner plate, a baby's head, whatever works for you. And I want you to think about, again, that rotation is coming from the help of the shoulder joint, okay? And we're moving nice and slow and controlled. Again, I want you to think if you were drawing this in PowerPoint, there wouldn't be more than 1 circle. We would be hitting the same edges every single time. And let's go ahead and switch directions. Opposite way. Nice and controlled. And even though this isn't a core exercise, do think about those bottom obliques, so your obliques that are touching the mat, and pull them up a little bit just to help you stabilize here. Sideline is a really challenging position just because of the nature that we have less surface area touching the ground. So we do want to stay in that kind of canister of control of those upper abs. Let's do 2 more. And go ahead and release it up. All right, for our next trick, we're going to do a shoulder raise in the front. So we did our side shoulder raise. So this time you're going to come out so that you are in front of your chest, right? And then from here, you're going to pull down and back, all right, towards your hip. So you're reaching out in front of you and then swinging the arm back. It would almost be like a natural movement as you're walking. It's the extension of the shoulder as you come back, and then flexion of your shoulder as you're coming forward, and then extension of your shoulder as you're coming back. And again, really work the length. So I want you to think about drawing the furthest arc away as you can without letting your shoulder blade protract. We don't want to let that shoulder blade sneak away from our midline too much, right? And that's going to cause that chest to collapse a little bit. So we're thinking nice long collarbones the entire time. Use that exhale to think about drawing the armpit down as you pull your hand towards your hip. Last one. And draw it forward. All right, take a quick break. This next one, you'll probably want to choke up on the band a little bit, just because of the nature of where we're going to put our arm in space. All right, so you want to start with your hand straight up towards the sky, directly on top of your shoulder. So we're thinking fist, elbow, and then shoulder is in a nice long line. And from here, you want some tension on there, because from here, we're going to bend at the elbow and then extend back up. And you can do this on a little bit of an angle if you feel like you're not getting enough tension, right? So the triceps, and I'm going to choke up on mine a little bit more, because you need a fair amount of tension here to start out with, because this ending position should be your maximum work in the muscle. So you're bending, keep that shoulder stacked, and then extending. Really think about flexing the back of the arm, and we're working the length at the elbow, giving yourself or your friend a nice high five up top here. Let's do 3 more. I've got a bee problem. I'm gonna give this bee a high five to its face. Last one. and bring it down. Nice job. All right, we have to do that whole bucket of fun on the other side. So go ahead and take yourself over to the opposite side that you just worked on. Get yourself situated. Make sure you have that. And when I say foam roller, you know, you can use whatever you would like. A cushion, but the foam roller or your wedge underneath your knee is just going to help keep the hips in line here so that it doesn't kind of drag the shoulders and chest into that more collapsed position. Again, bottom arm acts to help anchor you. So put that wherever you feel is going to give you the best purchase on the ground. And we're going to start with our lower and lift, our abduction and adduction. So go ahead and have the hand straight up towards the sky. Nice long line, shoulder, elbow, fingertips. And when you're ready, you're going to exhale, squeeze down towards the hips, and then inhale to lift. So we're exhaling, that's the hard work, right? We're working against the band's tension. And again, I want you to think about squeezing from right underneath the armpit, down around the shoulder blade, down towards the hips. That is our nice big flat muscle. It's helping us lower down. Now, as we lift, obviously, the band is helping guide us into place. So we actually have to work a little bit eccentrically or negatively because we don't want to just let the band slam us into that positioning. So you want to think about using the top of your shoulder, those deltoids, all right, our nice t-shirt muscles to make sure that we're not just having the band guide us. Well, it can guide you, but not let it drive the train here, so to speak. And again, just take a little check-in. Think about pulling those top ribs in a little bit so that we have some support from that bottom side waist. Let's do 2 more here. Control the lift and power the lower. On our next one, we're going to hold it down at the hip. So exhale, lower down and hold. Get long, long, long through the arm. And now we're going to do our little circles. So thinking small and controlled. And I really want you to think about the hip bone being the midline here. So we're going slightly back behind and then slightly in front. But we're not favoring being behind or in front of the hip. We're making a nice, even circle, reaching our fingertips even further away from the ear. Shoulder is staying down the back. And we're going to go 2, 1, and reverse that circle. Again, think about the angle that your fingertips are on, right? We don't want to be drawing a saucer that's at an angle. I want it at a 90-degree angle because that's how far you're reaching your fingertips. They never come closer to your torso. And let's go for 3 more in this direction. Nice job. All right, slowly bring it up. Take a little shake out. We're going to go right into our front raises. So hand is going to come out in front of you. Set that shoulder blade, right? So think about that depression and then a slight retraction, right? We're not jamming the shoulder blade into position, but we want to make sure that it's not causing any curling forward or collapsing of the chest. And now exhale, draw back towards the hip, and inhale, follow it out towards the shoulder. Again, so the major extender, right? We're working the extension that's on the way back because that's when we're fighting the resistance of the band. That major extender of your shoulder is going to be your lats. Those are those big important muscles to our rowing stroke. So I really want you to think about that line. It's like that ridge that creates the side body here on the back. Think about that popping out and really squeezing together as you extend that shoulder. And then as we draw back, again, that's not necessarily as much of the focus of the exercise here because the band is helping guide that. But we have a little bit of our pec major. You can feel those chest muscles working in opposition to those big back muscles. And let's do 3 more here. Really think about that rainbow arc of your fingers. It's as far away from your head as you can make it because you're reaching long, long, long through that whole lever of the arm. Last one. Exhale, press back and release. All right, triceps. So go ahead and choke up on that band. We want to establish some tension here. And we're going to start with the hand right over the shoulder. And then you're going to inhale, bend at the elbow, and then exhale, extend. Again, triceps, that's the back of the arm, right? From the elbow up towards the armpit. So think about that muscle. I want you to consciously think about squeezing from that little back spot to extend the elbow. It's like you have the answer in class and you need to shoot that hand up so that you get to answer first. Or maybe you get to go to recess first. Maybe you're not a nerd. Let's do 3 more. Extend, press those 2 joints together, 2 bones together, excuse me. So we're creating length at the front of the elbow. For our last one, and release. Whew. All right, last set. We're gonna do prone. You can go ahead and flip over right where you are onto your stomach. All right, handy dandy foam roller. I'm gonna recommend that you put right underneath your hips so that we're getting that little bit of support for the low back, all right? And we're gonna start with a nice plank here, okay? So make sure those elbows are right underneath the shoulder here, all right? Forearms are parallel like train tracks. And then I want you to really think about a little bit of protraction here, actually. So think about pushing the mat into the ground. And then I want you to think about that hollow body shape that we created in the very beginning of class. So a little bit of a pull up through those upper abs, right? So we're almost creating just this ever so slight curvature in the spine because our abs are pushing up with such force. And we're gonna hold for about another 20 seconds. Press evenly into the elbows and the wrists. Really find that support through every particle of yourself that is on that mat. Check in on those armpits. Are we squeezing down towards our hips? Staying tight all around in that nice band around the chest. And every exhale, see if you can pull those ribs down the body a little bit. And release. Take a little break there. Yeah, planking should never be easy. Even if you're just holding it, if you're actively engaging all those muscles, it should be really not very fun. Except for we're having a good time. All right, so for our next one, we're gonna do a little body saw. Now, if you don't have a foam roller, this is gonna be a little more challenging, but you can do it isometrically, that is to say without actually moving. So you can think about just pulling and pushing without actually rolling. But if you have a foam roller, I'm gonna have you plant your elbows a little further away from you so the elbows are out in front of your shoulder. And then as you exhale, so first set your plank, so think about pushing your elbows in, slight protraction of your shoulder blades, pull up through those ribs, And then on your next exhale, you're gonna think about pulling those elbows underneath you and then pushing the body back out and away. So this is called a body saw, because you can imagine if you were the saw, right? Someone would be pulling and pushing you at either end to cut down that big tree, all right? Make sure those palms stay anchored into the mat. It's just a little movement. So think about, you know, an inch, 2 inches, or again, you don't have to move. If you're on a pillow, just think about pulling under and then pushing away. Even the very thought of moving in those opposite directions should really fire up all of those shoulder stabilizers, but specifically those abs. Let's do 2 more. Push away and pull back forward. Last one, push, and then draw those elbows under, pull from the armpits, and relax. Take a little break here. Oh, all right, now we're actually done with core. Honest. All right, you can put your foam roller off to the side, because we're gonna come all the way flat for a little ending back and shoulder work, all right? Now for this one, we're gonna wanna have, I'm gonna do my left arm first. Forehead is gonna rest on the right hand, all right? This is called a shoulder car, so it's a controlled articular rotation, okay? So just like we did in the beginning with our axial rotation, we're gonna work how the shoulder moves in the capsule, right, through our full range of motion. So start with your head on your hand, lift the left arm up off the mat, palm is facing the mat, and we're gonna sweep out to the side, flip the palm up, and then sweep behind so that you're touching your spine, palm is facing the sky, elbow is still lifted. Now from here, important is that before you start to move out again, I want you to lift the hand up off the back and then sweep it out so that you're at shoulder level. Flip the palm towards the ground and then come out in front of you again, right? So it's like a really big snow angel, but we're working the rotation by flipping the palm up and down. We're gonna do 5 of these, so you can move through them at your own pace. But while we're doing these, I want you to think about really controlling from the shoulder capsule. So as we sweep out to the side, we're not just supinating the palm, we're actually rotating from the shoulder joint and then drawing it down while we bend at the elbow to bring that palm up the back. So it's like a really big snow angel, and the angel has a scratch on her back at the very end that she has to snag. Flip palm in the middle. As we're going through this, I want you to think about the idea of length that we've been establishing the entire workout. So we're not just working the rotation, we're thinking about reaching out and away, finding that support from our shoulder stabilizers. This is the last one. Make sure you lift the back of the hand off the back before reaching down and away. And, oh, release. Whew. All right, we got to do it on the other side. So go ahead, and left hand is now going to plant. Rest the forehead right on there. Reach the right hand out in front of you. Slightly lifted. We're thinking about, enough room for a tennis ball. And then as you sweep out to the side, fingertips are long. Flip the palm by helping with the shoulder rotation. Draw it down towards the hip, and then bend at the elbow to draw up towards the bottom of the spine. And then lift off first, reach down and away. Palm is still facing the sky. As we come to that shoulder level, we switch back into our pronated position and out in front of us. We got 4 more. And as you start to smooth this out, right, you can think about the rotation happening from the time you're at the hip to the time that you are at this, reaching straight out from your shoulder. So it doesn't necessarily need to be one spot where you flip. You can start to kind of seam together that movement so that it's nice and fluid. You may notice that one side of your body is a little tighter than the other. If you're right-handed, it's probably your right side, because we do all of our texting and a lot of our mouse work and writing with that right side. So we're probably slightly rounded forward more often on our dominant side. So just something to notice, think about. Let's do our last one here. So once you're up at the top, you have one more. Last time. As you're sweeping out to the side, we're simultaneously rotating the palm up towards the sky. Keep that elbow lifted as you come behind the back. Lift the hand off first as you reach down and start to flip back. And then bring it up and overhead. Oh, all right, let's take a well-deserved stretch here. So all you're gonna do is we're gonna start by stretching our left side chest. So put your palm down on the mat, thumb is right underneath the shoulder. Right hand is gonna go out like a T, all right? And then from here, just press into that left hand to stretch across the right chest and shoulder. Now, as has been the theme, the further you kind of reach with that right hand, the more of a stretch you're gonna get, right? Because we're just creating space across the shoulder joint at the front of the shoulder. Should feel nice. Make sure that you don't stretch too quickly. You could always come back down and kind of reset and then rock back into it if you feel like there's any overstretch, right? It can be a little uncomfortable, but you don't ever want to experience pain while you're stretching. And then come on back down. Let's do the opposite side. So left hand is going to go straight out like a T. Right hand is right underneath the shoulder. Think about sliding that left hand away from you as you press through the right palm to lift the right shoulder up and off. So slight rotation here. So gaze should be around those right fingertips, right? Just so that we're not looking straight down or yanking our head up and out of alignment. Same thing, if you want to come down and reset, feel free. And let's do one more. Slide those left fingertips as far away from your midline as you can. And then draw back down. All right, let's take a little mini extension to wrap up today. So go ahead and plant your hands a little bit in front of your shoulders is how I like to start, just so that we can ease into it a little bit. And then when you're ready, just press into your hands, look up, roll the shoulder blades back as far as you can, and think about creating a C shape with your mid-back. So we're really just opening up that chest as much as we can, reaching that heart through. And then we're gonna come back down. We're gonna do that 2 more times. So it's exhale, press into the forearms and palms, squeeze shoulder blades, drop them down and away, lift the gaze, but still stay long through the back of the neck, right? So I'm only lifting my gaze to where the rest of my spine is following. I'm not cranking back like a contortionist. And then lower back down. Last time. Exhale, press. Think about sliding those elbows down towards your hips so that we still have that engagement through the armpits to help us with that lift. And release to the mat. All right, you guys are done for the morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're doing this. Thank you for joining. We will be posting another workout next week. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, leave them below, and we will see you soon.
Thank you very much.